Hi there. Welcome to Egoma, a free community for meditators and practitioners of self-awareness in daily life. I would like to introduce Prashanth. He is the author of the book Living Awareness Through Meditation and Practice. It is a practical guide to help you get started with meditation and deepen your practice of self-awareness in your daily life.
All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to explore a really fascinating idea, a practice for understanding not just the world out there, but the world in here. It's a way to see the hidden programming that drives how we act and react. And, learning to see it can actually lead to a lot less stress, better relationships, and just a clearer mind. So it all kicks off with a question that, let's be honest, we've all asked. Maybe you're stuck in traffic or in a pointless meeting or even just sitting at the dinner table with family. Why is it so incredibly hard for people to just get along? Why can't everyone see things the right way? Which, of course, is our way, right? Well, the answer lies in this really powerful metaphor. Just imagine for a second that your entire life, every single conversation, every joy, every failure, every single thing you've learned has built a unique mountain right underneath your feet. Your perspective, what you call truth, is simply the view from your specific peak. And guess what? So is everyone else's. Okay, so let's dig into the root of the problem here. It's not really that some people are right and other people are wrong. It's that we are all, literally, experiencing fundamentally different realities, all based on these infinite, unique perceptions. You see, our minds aren't these clear windows looking out onto the world. They're much more like stained glass windows, colored and shaped by our entire history. And what that means is that even our most deeply held beliefs, about what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, they aren't universal facts. They're your truth from your mountain, just one view among countless others. Now, this is a really crucial point. The goal here isn't to get everybody to see the exact same thing from the exact same mountain. That would just be sameness, and that's kind of boring, right? No, the goal is oneness. And that's this radical acceptance that all this variety is totally natural and actually beautiful. It's about appreciating the whole landscape of all the different mountains, not trying to drag everyone onto a single peak. So if we're all standing on these different mountains, you have to ask, who's the architect? What is it that actually builds these unique perspectives? Well, the answer lies in our inner programming. Think of your mind as this incredible biological computer that's running software. This conditioned mind is like the operating system that got installed the moment you were born. It's always running in the background, automatically shaping how you react, what you like, what you dislike, and your judgments about everything, often without you even having a clue that it's happening. So where does all this code come from? Well, pretty much everywhere. Our parents and teachers install the initial software. Then our culture and traditions, they set all the default parameters. Our friends, the role models we look up to, even the ads we see and the media we consume, they're all constantly running updates. We're being programmed and then reprogrammed every single day of our lives. So the goal then isn't to try to become some kind of unprogrammed person. That's just impossible. The real goal is way simpler. It's to just become aware of the programming, to see the code as it's running. That awareness, that simple act of seeing, that's the key that changes the whole game. But what happens when we live completely unaware of all this programming? Well, we end up building these invisible prisons for ourselves without even realizing we were the ones who drew up the blueprints. All those expectations we carry around about how we should be, how other people should act, how life is supposed to go, they feel like they're positive things, but they actually act like golden handcuffs. They lock us into one single version of reality, and then when the real world doesn't play along, it just leads to frustration, anger, and disappointment. So the more rigid our internal rulebook becomes, the more we start rejecting people and ideas and experiences that just don't fit. We stick to what feels familiar, what confirms what we already believe, and without even noticing it, our world gets smaller and smaller. The walls of our own prison just keep closing in. And this creates this totally self-destructive loop. We go out and we actively look for information that proves our rules are correct, while we ignore anything that might challenge them. Our beliefs start to feed on themselves, trapping us in a cycle that feels safe, but is actually super limiting. Okay, so if our minds are busy building these invisible prisons and trapping us in these shrinking worlds, how do we find the key? Well, the way out isn't some complex escape plan or a secret technique. It's something much, much simpler, and it's just called the practice. This is really the heart of it all. You don't try to suppress your anger or force yourself to feel happy. You just watch. You become this kind of neutral observer of your own inner world, just noticing the thoughts and feelings as they come and go, without judging them or trying to fix them. You know what? Let's try a quick experiment right now. I'm going to put two very simple but kind of charged statements on the screen. All you have to do is just notice what happens inside you. Ready? First, this one. And now, this one. Okay, just take a second. What did you feel? Was there a little pull of agreement, a push of resistance, maybe a little spark of anger or a feeling of calm? What was that immediate, totally unfiltered reaction? That feeling. That internal, knee-jerk response you just had. The practice is simply noticing it happen. That's it. That is the awareness we're talking about. It's really that simple, and at the same time, that profound. And this whole practice is basically a continuous loop. You will get lost in your thoughts. That's a guarantee. The magic, the real practice, happens in step 2. That moment you realize, oh, hey, I was gone. And you don't beat yourself up for it. You just notice it, you let it be, and boom, the loop begins again. Getting lost isn't a failure. It's actually part of the process. So this brings us to our final and maybe the most important takeaway of all. This whole thing is not a race with some finish line. It's a continuous, never-ending journey of just observation. So it's so important to let go of this idea of getting good at this. This isn't another self-improvement project to add to your list. There's no enlightened state you're supposed to achieve, no final boss to defeat. There is only the continuous, gentle act of returning to awareness, moment by moment by moment. At the end of the day, the practice is all about letting go of our need for solid ground under our feet. Life is constantly shifting, right? It's new in every single moment. And instead of desperately trying to hold on to our old maps, awareness allows you to just embrace the free fall into the brand new, totally mysterious present moment. And so we'll leave you with maybe the most powerful question of all. Not as some problem you need to solve, but as a space to be explored. Once you start to peel back all the programming and the expectations and the labels, who are you really?